sound of a swish. Nothing beats being there live at Chase Center for the game, Warriors fans. And Ticketmaster is your official gateway to buying and selling the best seats all season long. Ticketmaster verifies every seat sold, guaranteeing that getting into the game is a layup. Be there live to defend Warriors ground this season with seats from Ticketmaster.com/Warriors. Ticketmaster, the official marketplace of the Golden State Warriors.
The reigning 2022 champions are back in action, and NBC Sports Bay Area has you covered every step of the season. Catch Warriors pre- and post-game live an hour before and following each game, hosted by Bonte Hill with analysts and former Warriors Chris Mullin and Festus Ezeli. And get your Warriors news all week long on the Dubs Talk podcast with Kareth Burke and Monty Poole, featuring special guests and in-depth analysis. Authentic moments live here, only on NBC Sports Bay Area.
Dub Nation knows good things come in threes, whether it's a game-winning three-pointer or all the games, glitz, and great entertainment you can enjoy at Northern California's premier casino resort. Cache Creek is the place to play a hot hand on our world-class gaming floor, indulge at our luxurious spa, or catch a live performance from your favorite acts. It's all here, just a short drive away. This is your time to cash in at Cache Creek Casino Resort, official sponsor of your Golden State Warriors.
1 minute, your team's down 20 points. The next, they're hitting a game-winning three at the buzzer and the crowd's going nuts. Basketball games can change in an instant. So can your plans. That's why at United, there are no change fees on flights. Because while we love a change of plans in the Warriors' favor, we don't think anyone should get charged fees for changing theirs. No change fees, ever. United, the official airline of the Golden State Warriors. Does not include basic economy unless a United waiver applies. Exceptions apply for certain international flights.
CarMax's unmatched money-back guarantee gives you 30 days to fall in love with your car. And you know what that means.
They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding 30. 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 Trying to catch me riding 30.
CarMax 30-day money-back guarantee. That's car buying reimagined. Only from CarMax. Up to 1,500 miles. See CarMax.com for details.
Riding 30. Trying to catch me riding 30.
A podiatrist will tell you about your feet. An orthopedist will tell you about your bones. A physical therapist will analyze your gait. A psychologist will help you manage your anxiety. But what if they're all connected? What if your walk affects your hip alignment and the loss of movement affects your mental health? At Kaiser Permanente, we know the body is connected in unseen ways. That's why our doctors work together to care for all that is you. Kaiser Permanente, for all that is you. Learn more at kp.org.
Been listening to the Golden State Warriors Audio Network.
Presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope they got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Curry off the screen, takes another three. It's up and good. Curry hits another one. Thought he got fouled, and he is really hot.
Yep.
Screaming at the official.
Yeah, screaming at the official, got hit in the head on that three-point shot. Frustrating for Curry. Curry picks up a tech. Steve Kerr picked up a tech at that point that allowed Steph Curry to remain in the game, it felt like, as Curry was really upset. You're not going to want to miss what Steve Kerr had to say about that after the ball game. We'll play it for you as we welcome you in here to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you here for the next hour or so. 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570 as the Bucks handle the Warriors in this one tonight. 128-111. Warriors jumped out to a 7-0 start in this one, and then it was pretty much all Bucks for the most part for the remainder of the evening, including the first quarter, as the Warriors wind up really just struggling in this one. And it didn't feel as close as the final outcome or final total would make you think at 17 points. The Warriors did trail by as many as 26 in this one, and the road woes continue for the Dubs in this one as they fall to 2-12 away from Chase Center. And you just look at the juxtaposition of the game at Chase on Saturday night against the Celtics, and the Warriors, playing pretty good basketball on that night, one of their better wins of the season. And then you add up tonight, and it's just they get throttled from 2. They can't stop fouling early. The Bucks are at the free throw line. Bucks really dominating the paint as well on both ends, getting whatever they want in the paint, and also really stopping the Warriors in the paint and from 2-point range. And aside from making the 3-point shot, and the Warriors in the first 15-plus minutes of the game in this one, they had made 10 3-pointers, and it was the only reason why it felt like the Warriors weren't getting blown out. And then I look up in the fourth quarter, and the Warriors end up 20 of 50 on the night. Now, mop-up time went pretty well for the Dubs after they had waved the white flag, and Steve Kerr waved the white flag in this one with about 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Unusual to see Steve Kerr not at least give Steph Curry and the starters a shot to try and make a run in it. But that's how bad this one was going for the Warriors, as the 3-pointers kept them in it. But the Bucks, as I mentioned, dominated from 2-point range, dominated getting to the free throw line, dominated as far as just defensively out on the perimeter and really trying to force the Warriors off the 3-point line, but also giving the Warriors some 3-point shots. And the Warriors were hitting, but they were taking away everything in the lane for the most part, and really making the game choppy at the rim and defending the rim very well. And the Warriors just were making the threes, but they were not doing anything else well at all. All that said, it was still a 6-point game late in the first half, but the Bucks were able to push it back up to 12 at the half, and then all the way up to 26 in the third quarter. It was an 18-point game at the end of the third quarter with the Bucks in front, and they go on to win it by 17, 128-111. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text as we react to this one, and the Warriors continue their road struggles. So they dip back to 500 at 14-14, and it's very simple. The Warriors are 2-12 away from Chase Center, and they're 12-2 inside Chase Center, can basically beat anybody, including the best teams in the NBA. And on the road, the Warriors can essentially lose to anybody among the best teams in the NBA, like the Bucks tonight, or as we saw in that early season road trip where the Warriors were losing in Charlotte and Orlando and really to all comers, Detroit. They are just a different ball club when they're playing away from Chase Center, and it's something that, look at this game coming into it. No Andrew Wiggins, playing the second-best team in the NBA. You know it's going to be a tough task, but the Warriors had given you a little bit of hope that maybe things weren't going to be quite as bad, playing a little better on the road of late, playing the game that they did against the Celtics on Saturday night, but just not enough. Not enough size, not enough strength, too many turnovers, just getting dominated on the interior, and the frustration was showing in this one for the Warriors when you look at the 5 technical fouls for the Dubs in this one, 7 in the game overall. A couple the Bucks way is the officials really made this game largely unwatchable in the parts where the Warriors didn't make it unwatchable, aside from the 3-point shooting that I alluded to. But yeah, the technical fouls and the frustration. You had Steve Kerr all upset along with Steph Curry off of the 3 that Steph hit there as we played coming in, and the no call on the foul as Curry gets hit in the head. You had Iguodala get a technical foul from the bench. Andre Iguodala making his presence felt to the greatest extent that he has been able to any point on this young season. Jonathan Kuminga even picked up a technical for the Warriors. Kuminga pretty good in mop-up duty. Not one of his better games of late, though, when the game really mattered. You look at his line at the end of the night tonight as far as Jonathan Kuminga goes and think, oh, yeah, Kuminga played pretty well. 19 points and 6 of 10 shooting, knocked down 3 of 5 from 3, but a couple of those came in mop-up duty, and his imprint on the game really wasn't there as frequently as it had been in recent times. So the Warriors frustrated, saw a couple of 10-second calls on free throws, which is something you never see. It happened twice. They got Giannis, which has been a bone of contention against some of the opponents that the Bucks have played in the playoffs going back over the last couple of years. But yeah, Giannis taking his time at the free throw line. It was a little bit of a ref show tonight, I thought, both ways. But the Warriors clearly frustrated, I think, by the Bucks' defense, which was, for the most part, physical and stifling, and the Warriors feeling they weren't getting the benefit of the whistle in a game where the Bucks were shooting all kinds of free throws. At one point, had been to the line almost 20 times before the Warriors had been to the line even once. It ended up 32 attempts for Milwaukee, 19 for the Warriors. But the frustration, I think, from the poor play and the inability to compete, and also with the whistle, you could just see it. And the Warriors star players were wearing it in this one tonight. Warriors also got hit into the first quarter as the three ball was keeping them in it. And Steph Curry playing with that bench group before they go to the start of the second quarter unit. The Warriors really struggled at the end of the first quarter with Steph out there. JaMychal Green, just a rough night for JaMychal Green. Wow, really bad. But he was out there with JaMychal Green and Kuminga, Moody, and Dante DiVincenzo as well. And it wasn't rolling for the Warriors with that stretch. Allowed the Bucks to get a little breathing room into the first quarter. And now the question becomes, what happens tomorrow for the Warriors as they go to Indiana? And you see Steve Kerr wave the white flag in the game tonight, essentially saying they're going to go all in and try and get the game in Indiana tomorrow, which makes a lot of sense. And we know Andrew Wiggins is going to be out tomorrow already, as he had been ruled out for the first two games of this road trip, at least, set to be reevaluated coming up on Thursday, I believe, before the Warriors take on Philadelphia on Friday. And so you look at where things are for the Warriors right now, and they need a win. They need a game in Indiana now against a Pacers team that beat them last week at Chase and is healthier now themselves than they were on that night, where they were missing a lot of key players, and the Warriors, who have now dropped 3 of the last 4 games, were unable to beat them. But yeah, holding Steph out 27 minutes. Draymond Green ends up playing 23, Kevon Looney 19, Klay Thompson even 27 minutes, although we'll see if Klay, tomorrow's the night where he plays the second of a back-to-back. I would imagine likely not at the beginning of this trip, although at some point I know Steve Kerr has said that has the potential to happen for Klay Thompson, but the Warriors really just didn't have it tonight in any way other than making the three ball, and the third quarter does them in as the Bucks stifle them and wind up rolling in this one to the tune of 128-111. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game, as the Warriors back to 500, 14-14. Couple of text messages to get to here off the top on the Xfinity mobile text line. Talking about Jordan Poole, JD, Jordan Poole. Is Jordan Poole getting worse? He seems to be regressing. I don't know if he's regressing, but tonight was rough for Jordan Poole. Dribbling the ball off his foot on back-to-back possessions. Just brutal stuff for Jordan Poole in this one. And he, 3 of 7 from 3, the 18 points, but the turnovers were just really problematic. The defense has not been there, and he's been a different player, I think, home and away. The Warriors collectively have been different home and away, I think, over the course of this season, and the defense is probably the most pronounced way that they've been different. It's just a completely different team defensively. No imprint on the game, no forcefulness on that end of the ball, and the Bucks just having their way in this one tonight. At home, there's more fight, but at home, typically, there's more margin for error. On the road, you got to bring it from the opening tip, and you got to keep bringing it, and you got to bring it some more, and then you got to bring it at the finish line. And the Warriors either, at this point, are not talented enough to bring it for 4 quarters on the road, especially against a good team. But hell, this hasn't even been an issue against good teams. It's been an issue against essentially every team that they've played on the road. but they either aren't good enough to bring it consistently, or they just aren't locked in enough to bring it consistently. I think it's probably a little bit of a combination of both. But the Warriors do see their record dip back to 500, which puts them right back in the muck among a bunch of teams. Currently, still 10, including the Warriors, that are at that 500 mark in the West. As you look at the play-in tournament and where everything shakes out, with the Jazz at 15-14, the Timberwolves are 13-14, right on the outside looking in behind the Warriors. The Mavs are 14-13. That's good enough for 8th. The Kings got beat again. They've dropped a few games now, 3 of 4 on their road trip. They're on a 6-game road trip themselves. And are not quite playing as good a basketball after they started 10-6 since their 7-game winning streak. They were 3-6, 7-game winning streak, and now they're 4-6 in their last 10 after the 7-game winning streak. But yeah, you look at it, and it's still 15-12, good enough for 5th. So the Warriors are right there, but they got to figure out how to compete, and they got to figure out how to bring it with better consistency when they're not playing at Chase Center. It's just a tale of two very different teams right now, the Warriors and when they're playing at home versus the Warriors when they're playing on the road. And I think any way you look at it, you know this is going to be a difficult game. You know it's probably going to be hard for the Warriors to get a win, but you're hoping for a competitive effort. You're hoping for a back-and-forth game. You're hoping for an opportunity with about 6-7 minutes to go in the game where it is a couple possession game, and Steph and Draymond and Klay and the starters are all in there. Maybe Jordan Poole or Kuminga's having a big night, and you're going toe-to-toe with a team that you figure to see potentially in the NBA Finals, or they're going to be the kind of team that you're going to have to beat if you're going to make a long playoff run. And so the Warriors these last 2 games have shown that they're dangerous in stretches against some of these teams, but they still have a ways to go as far as consistency. And you can see where they would threaten these teams if they got to the point where they had to play them over the course of a long series. But the long haul continues to be something that I think is worrisome for the Warriors as they try and navigate now, 28 games in. So basically a third of the way through the season, 27 games is basically the 1/3 point. So the Warriors just a tick over the 1/3 portion of the season at 14 up and 14 down. And I think the key continues to be for them. It's not so much who can they beat, who can they not beat, but it's been much more prevalent home, road, and it's been much more pronounced as far as just, does this team have enough to get through a regular season and get on a run to where they can step up and get a top 4 seed in the Western Conference? I'm more concerned about that at this point, 28 games in with 54 games to go, as I am as to whether they can compete when they get in. Like, you got to be in a position where you at least have some semblance of a home court advantage, and you don't have to win on the road in every single series. Potential. And look, I know the Warriors have won road games and going all the way back to 2013. They've won a road game in every single playoff series. So they can win on the road. The issue is, a lot of the time in these series, when you are the underdog and you don't have home court advantage, you got to win twice on the road in a lot of series, because most teams, especially teams that when you look up are just not that good overall record-wise, they're going to slip up here or there at home in the playoffs. And we've seen the Warriors lose some home games here and there where they have to go on the road and get one back, and they've been able to do it. But typically the template for the Warriors in these playoff series has been win a couple of games on the road, win a couple of games at home, then go on the road, split, make sure you get that one for every single series, and then move forward and end the series a lot of the time in 5 games. But again, I think, on the one hand, you think, hey, the Warriors can continue to compete against some of these teams. But on the other hand, you just look at the night in, night out grind, and some of these players getting older, and the rest component of all of these back-to-backs and the long haul, and the fact that they have, for the most part, been relatively healthy, at least up until the last week. And now you factor Andrew Wiggins out of the equation, And you just start to wonder, and again, my biggest concern still is, can the Warriors get through the long haul of a regular season with a good enough record to where you feel strong about their chances of running the table and making a deep run? Because this isn't baseball. This isn't the NFL where it's all right, boom, boom, couple of games, you move on to the next one. It's a total crapshoot. And as wide open as it is, I mean, it's tough to pick the Warriors if they're right against anybody. But the one thing that the Warriors have continued to show us is they just aren't getting right. And especially away from Chase Center, they haven't been able to get things right. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. John Dickinson here on 95.7 The Game. It is Warriors wrap-up as the Warriors fall 128-111 in Milwaukee against the Bucks. Bucks, they get the win in this one as they are team with the second best record in the NBA. They pick up their 20th win of the season, and the Warriors, as I've mentioned, fall to 14-14. The Warriors back in action, quick turnaround tomorrow at Indiana, right here on 95.7 The Game. So we'll pause here. We'll come back. We'll hear from Steve Kerr. We'll hear from others inside the Warriors locker room. But your phone calls, your text messages, 888-957-9570. Warriors wrap up here on 95.7 The Game.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
For the latest holiday tech gifts at great prices, Staples has you covered.
I need unbeatable prices on tech for everyone on my nice list.
Staples has you covered.
How about a tech gift that's music to her ears?
Staples has you covered with the hottest tech gifts at great prices this holiday. And right now at Staples, the new Apple AirPods Pro 2nd generation is just $199. You save $50. The latest tech gifts are at Staples, the working and learning store. Offer ends 12/17. Limit 2 in-store only.
If you have certain chronic conditions such as
heart disease,
asthma,
diabetes, and you're 19 years of age or older,
52,
36,
42, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'm going to ask my doctor
about getting vaccinated
with Prevnar 20.
Bear Robotics makes robots for restaurants. Automated servers to do the heavy lifting. But get this, our office, it wasn't automated. Paper invoices going in and out, getting lost. We don't do that anymore. Now we've got Bill. It automates our finances the way we automate restaurants. With Bill tracking our invoices and planning payments, we can focus on growing. The old way, not going back there.
Automate your finances with Bill. Learn more at Bill.com.
What's up, San Francisco? If you're a fan of the team, which I'm sure you are, you've been following Christian McCaffrey light up the competition. This season, Christian will be hydrating himself with Body Armor sports drinks. It has potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. In fact, Body Armor has 820 milligrams of electrolytes per 16-ounce serving. Body Armor is the sports drink of choice for Christian McCaffrey. It's more than a sports drink. It's Body Armor sports drink. Available at your local Safeway.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with Autosave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Bounce pass to Thompson. Fades to his left. Dribbles it back out off the Looney screen. Fakes and fires. It's a three and it's good. Number 2,000 in Klay Thompson's career. Makes it 58-50 with 2:09 to go in the first half.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, one of the few bright spots for the Warriors in this one, Klay Thompson eclipsing the 2,000 mark in terms of career three-pointers made. Warriors, though, go on to lose to the Bucks, 128-111. John Dickinson back here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game, 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to participate in the program here as the Warriors fall now to 14-14 as they'll be back in action on tomorrow night, actually. Quick turnaround in Indiana as the Warriors take on the Pacers trying to bounce back. And look, this is going to be a very tough trip. Bucks tonight, Indiana tomorrow. Then they go to Philadelphia. Philadelphia thump Sacramento tonight. Toronto is never a picnic on Sunday, and we'll see where the Warriors pick and choose their time to maybe get some of the regulars a night off. I don't think all of the regulars are going to play every single game of this series or every single game of this road trip, assuming that they're even fully healthy, although it does bode well for tomorrow night that Steve Kerr called off the Dogs early in the fourth quarter and Steph Curry played 27 minutes and Draymond Green played 23. I mean, that tells you all you need to know about the fact that both of those guys you would figure to play tomorrow unless some of the little injuries that they've been dealing with here over the last couple of weeks and really the last few days in particular are aggravated to the point where maybe they can't be out there tomorrow. So the Warriors, for that loss tonight, and as ugly as it was, and the fact that the Bucks are a really good team, I think one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the entire league, maybe number 2 by record coming in. But I think the East, as far as the Celtics and the Bucks, really have, at this point, they're better than everybody in the West, and period. And I think you draw a line, and the West is trying to sort itself out, and I think the rest of the East is really trying to sort themselves out as well. But this is the kind of trip where you want to get one early because it can really kind of snowball on you late if you start resting players and you're going to be facing a lot of good teams here. And the last thing you want is to be looking at a 2-4, 1-5 kind of a trip, and you're heading back, and now all of a sudden you got to make a climb in the 8-game homestand that the Warriors are going to have, but you're trying to make a climb back to and over the 500 mark. You don't want to dip too far below 500. And so at this point, getting a win tomorrow, I think, would be highly, highly important. 888-957-9570. Let's go ahead and hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr. He addressed, among other things, the calls tonight. He's going to let you know right here why he was so frustrated with some of the officiating in this ball game tonight. So here is the head coach after this one.
Yeah, it was a very choppy game. Not a great showcase for the league. Unfortunately, we didn't play very well, and I thought Milwaukee played really well defensively, and we couldn't find a rhythm. And yeah, we were getting frustrated with some no calls, and it led to a very choppy night.
I think free throw disparity tonight was something like 39-19. You guys have shot the least amount of free throws in the league, give up the most. How, I guess, defining is that number for some of your struggles? It's basically the difference, in the game. When we lose, it usually feels like that's the difference. At halftime, it was a 12-point game, and they had 10 more free throws than us. So, despite the fact that we weren't shooting the ball well, weren't playing very well, I think it was, a 6-point game with a minute and a half left in the second quarter. We're right there. But the free throws are a killer. I say it all the time. It's not only free points for the other team, but it means we have to go against a set defense after those free throws. So it's a big part of the game tonight, and it's been an issue all season.
You guys touched a lot on three-point shooting tonight. It was hard to get anything going inside. What did the Bucks do that made it so difficult, or why couldn't you guys find it?
I thought Javon Carter set a great tone defensively for them. He was all over the ball. And, Milwaukee has a good scheme. They drop their bigs, and they fight really hard over the top of pick and rolls and DHOs. And so you're not going to get much at the rim because those bigs are down there. And then they've got guards who like Carter and like Drew Holiday when he's playing, and others who are fighting hard over the screens and really challenging the three-point shots at the line. So they force you into a lot of mid-range stuff. And, I thought their defense was fantastic tonight.
Coach, just going off that, Milwaukee's defensive whatnot, Brook Lopez is such a big part of their defensive efforts. He was gone a lot of last year. After seeing so much success with him back, just how much of a challenge does he pose at the rim, and then on the other end, the ability to shoot three?
Yeah, Brook played well tonight. He's always a good rim protector, and I thought he did a nice job tonight. Blocked a couple shots, and just was camped in the lane, and it was tough for us to get anything easy. And then at the other end, he stepped out and knocked down some shots. So he played a good game. That's a big, strong team. That's kind of their identity. And as Anthony said, we came into this game last in the league in free throws and last in free throws allowed. So if that's already an issue as a team, and you're playing against a team with, I think they're the number one ranked defense in the league, efficiency wise. And with that kind of size at the rim, it's going to be tough for us to get to the foul line a lot, to get anything easy at the basket. So tough night for us tonight, but we've got another one tomorrow. We got to bounce back quickly.
What set you off particularly about the Steph foul?
I was already mad at several non-calls in the paint. I thought there should have been a block on Middleton on Jordan Poole's drive, and the officials admitted they missed that. And then I thought Jordan got fouled on a reverse layup. And then there was a continuation that was given to Giannis that I didn't feel like was continuation. So I just felt like we were on the bad end of things for, to start the game. And then, Steph Curry gets hit on the head on a three-point shot. Like, that needs to be called. That's what he does. It's Steph Curry. You can't miss that. And I was frustrated because if Steph gets a technical, then he definitely got fouled. And I was already upset with a couple of other non-calls.
Coach, do you see a pattern in the road losses?
In the road losses? Yeah, our defense has been bad on the road. For whatever reason, the splits are pretty dramatic. Our defense is good at home and bad on the road, so we got to turn that around.
Have you thought at all about, I know it's the game just ended.
No, have not thought about it. Sorry for not letting you get the question out. The question was going to be, have I thought about tomorrow night's play? I'll check in with the performance team to see, how all the guys are doing, and then we'll decide who's playing and who's not.
All right, so Steve Kerr there, the temperature rising throughout that press conference. Started off relatively calm. He's talking about the Bucs defense, the Warriors fouling too much, and then Anthony Slater, the Athletic, asks him about the technical foul, and you could hear it in his voice as the press conference was going on. It was the temperature was, all right, it's starting at 98.6, right? Starting it, and then we're going to get up to 90, and we're going to get up to 99. Then it was up to about 100.5, and then the question comes from Kendra Andrews about tomorrow, and Steve Kerr not even letting it get out. So yeah, Steve Kerr could be one of those nights where Kerr gets a rare fine maybe for coming after the officials in the post game. But yeah, I'm not typically one that comes at the officials, but Curry did get hit on the head on the three. It didn't appear as if the landing area was an issue, although I know Steph has thought that there have been some calls that have not gone his way. I know Warrior fans get up in arms about a lot of those calls where they think, hey, other star players in the league are getting a favorable whistle in those situations that Steph doesn't get at the same level. But the frustrating thing is definitely when you can clearly see him getting hit on the three. Like that, and that's why I think Steph took the technical. I think he was as close to maybe getting ejected for arguing a call as you'd ever see Steph Curry, and then it felt like Steve Kerr had to have the back of his superstar player in that moment in an attempt to keep him from maybe getting kicked out of the game. And I thought there was some good restraint shown by the officials and not. And look, nobody wants to see Steph Curry get kicked out of the game in the first half of a nationally televised game that's among the last two champions in the NBA, right? You've got the 2022 champs against the 2021 champs, so you don't want to see Steph out of that game. So that was good, but make that call. Make that call. So yeah, Steve Kerr just getting more and more frustrated as that post-game press conference went on, and yeah, the defense has been bad, and it's just they got to figure out a way to get to a point where they can compete more consistently on the road. A couple of text messages to get to. We'll do that in a moment, but let's go to the phone lines here at 888-957-9570. Let's get Vidon in Redwood City. What's going on, Vidon? You're on Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to say that I think the Warriors are going to pretty easily bounce back once we get Wiggins back from the injury. I think Jordan Poole is also trying to find his groove. I mean, he's starting for the first few games of these seasons without Wiggins in, and I think we beat the Celtics without Wiggins, and this game we got pretty close at the end of the second quarter tonight, and I think with Wiggins in, it should be a pretty easy win, and Jordan Poole kind of getting fired up as well. So, with no injuries, I think the season's going to not be a breeze, but I think we'll be a lot more put together as the season goes on.
All right, well, appreciate the call. I mean, you're Mr. Optimistic at this point. I mean, I'm looking at a team 14-14 at the 1/3 mark of the season, and I don't know about you, but I don't think tonight's an easy win if Andrew Wiggins is playing. I don't think they get beat by 17. And really, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. The Warriors made 20 3-pointers tonight. 20. They were 20 of 50, shot 40%, 20 of 50 from three-point range. That was the only thing that kept the Warriors from losing by 35 tonight, it felt like, was the fact that they made a bunch of threes, and cosmetically, it did keep the Warriors legitimately in the game in the first half, especially, as I mentioned earlier, when they had hit 10 in the first 15-plus minutes, and at that point, the game was hanging around the 10 to 12-point mark. They were in the game down 6 late in the first half because they were just making threes. They were doing nothing else well. They weren't defending. They were fouling. They were getting beat in the paint. They were getting out physicaled. They were turning the ball over. Like, the Warriors were doing nothing well, but they had made 10 threes in about 15 minutes of game action, and because of that, they were down 10 instead of being down, say, 30 at that point. And it felt like on a lot of nights, if you are a little bit cold, and look, you see this on night in, night out basis in the NBA, you might have been down 30, but they weren't. And then I remember looking up in the fourth quarter and thinking, my God, they got a shot to hit 23s tonight. And I think when you look at this thing at the end of the night, and you look at the final score and the 17-point margin and the 23s that the Warriors hit, you think, wow, if that's even 15 or 16, we're having a whole different conversation. I mean, we're talking about 128-99. We're talking about 128-95, something like that. If just a couple of those rim out. I mean, this game did not, when it was all said and done, in particular in the second half after the Bucks pushed it up to 26 in that third quarter, it didn't really at any point feel like this game was 17-20 and it ended up at 17. Like that felt like it wasn't a true indicator of how badly the Warriors are playing. And look, the Bucks had some turnover issues at different times of the game. They had 23 on the night. I mean, both teams turned it over, but the Bucks had turned it over, and that was ugly. And they made some interesting choices of how they were going to pass the basketball. They did not necessarily shoot the three ball as well in terms of overall makes, but they were getting to the free throw line. So I just look at this thing at the end of the night, and cosmetically I felt it looked like a lot better than really the Warriors played, because the Warriors were able to make some shots. All right, before we get back to the phones here at 888-957-9570, let's welcome everybody to our 8 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
All right, John Dickinson here, Warriors wrap-up, 888-957-9570. Bucks 128, Warriors 111, Warriors 14-14, 2-12 on the road. Let's go to Jimmy in Bayview next here on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, John. Thanks for taking my call. I agree with you 100% on the Warriors shot well, and they were never really in this game. I think it goes to the roster construction. I mean, you can't have Lamb guarding Antetokounmpo. I mean, that's just not going to get it done. I mean, the Warriors got lucky last year not having to go through them and not having to go through Phoenix. You know, there was some luck going their way. And this year, the refs really aren't on our side. We're not getting a lot of calls. We're getting carries. Steph's not getting calls. And I just think physically looking at this roster is just not strong enough to run with the big dogs, especially when they have all their players. Thanks very much. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if I'm there yet because you look at a game like the game on Saturday night, and you do look at stretches tonight. Like there's stretches tonight where you feel like the Warriors, if they're whole, they're hanging around, right? Maybe they shouldn't have been as close as they were, but they were making shots and they were hanging around. If they have an Andrew Wiggins, do they make another push? Is that game tied going in at the half as opposed to having a 6-point deficit turn into a 12-point deficit, and then the Warriors kind of packed it in there when the Bucks hit them in the mouth at the beginning of the third quarter. So, I go back and forth. Like it's not that the Warriors can't compete with the big boys. I feel like they can compete with the big boys. No big boy team, whether it's Milwaukee or Boston or anybody in the West, would want to see the Warriors in a playoff series just mano a mano. But I keep coming back to the fact that I just look at 54 games to go and how inconsistent it's been and just how this roster is built. I do think that's part of it. Like this team is not deep. Like they're cobbling it together as far as the bench goes because they have to. They're not getting enough from the young players. They're trying to figure out a workaround to where they don't have to get as much from the young players. Kuminga's coming along. Jordan Poole's up and down. Klay Thompson's inconsistent. You're worried about Steph and Draymond now physically because they've had to carry so much of the load to this point of the season. And I almost set aside Milwaukee in a finals or the Celtics in a finals because I think, you know what, if the Warriors could actually get to that point, they'd probably feel pretty good because they'd be playing really well and they'd feel like they've got a shot and the champion's blood and all of that. The thing that I keep coming back to, can they get to a point over the next 54 to where they're legitimate enough to get into the tournament at a high enough level to where they can make that kind of noise at that kind of level? Like, I'm more worried about the 54 than I am about what it's going to look like once they get in. Like, they could beat anybody in one series. Can they win 4 series with no home court advantage if that's what it has to be? I mean, that's the part that's more murky for me. Like, when is the 15-5 stretch going to come? Is there going to be a 20-5 stretch that makes us all look back and laugh at the first 28 games of this season because this team's on track to win 50 games? That's the part that I can't quite see because injuries happen and rotations change and young players are up and down, and it's just the long haul of the regular season is something I fear more now for this Warriors team as I evaluate them objectively than whether or not they could make some noise or be a tough out or win even a couple of playoff series on their way to try and make a run to the title. I think it ultimately, though, is probably too taxing if they can't get consistent enough play in the regular season to be a top 4 seed. 888-957-9570. Robin in San Francisco on 95.7 The Game. What's going on tonight, Robin?
Hey, JD, how are you? So, you know,
right.
when I hear things like what the caller just said about last year, we were lucky to get to, didn't have to go through the Bucks or the Suns. Well, you know, that's crap because they weren't good enough to get to the finals. So, you know, that's a moot point. I think you've gone over everything I wanted to say, was that I think because, you know, some of the young players, they're not consistent, and I think that's part of the DNA of the team. And, you know, they don't play well on the road, usually young players. And also, they don't seem to have any cohesiveness offensively. You know what I mean? At times, it's like they seem scattered, like, you know, they don't know who to pass it to. They get out of transition. It doesn't seem like there's any cohesiveness. And I wanted to speak to you about that. It's like, you know, I don't know if that's IQ, if that's coaching, lack of confidence. I just see a lack of cohesiveness there. And that's all I really, I got for you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks, Robin. I think it's, you know, inexperience is part of it. I think the Warriors have come a long way over the last 5 weeks. I mean, 5 weeks ago, it felt like there were 2 different teams, essentially. It felt like there were the veteran players that were trying to do their own thing, and then it felt like there was the younger players that were trying to fit in and get on that level, and it just wasn't adding up. And at that point, you know, I think it's been up and down as far as the cohesiveness goes lately. I think you start taking Wiggins away and then it changes. Like, I think the Warriors had figured it out, Robin, as far as, all right, Kuminga's going to play these minutes and JaMychal Green's going to play these minutes and Dante DiVincenzo's going to play, you know, a few minutes with Steph, and he's going to come in, he's going to play with Poole, and then Draymond's going to be at the top of the second with the second unit. Maybe Wiggins is going to be a part. And then you figure it out and you start to build momentum. But here's the thing in the NBA. You start to get to that point where you're figuring it out and you're building the momentum, and then you have an injury, and everything that you've planned on has to change again. And now it's a matter of, Poole goes back into the starting lineup, Klay bumps up, now Moody's got to play, players are in different minutes, there's different combinations, and a lot of the chemistry that you felt really strongly about to that point, it's gone. And then you look at your overall record at the point in which you start, when you lose players and you aren't separated enough from 500 to where you have a cushion to absorb. Like the Warriors had a cushion last year to absorb. They were 18-2. They were 20. I think they were. I know they were 21-5 last year after 26 games. So that 21-5 after 26 games a year ago, 13-13 this year, and so it's just a dramatically different. It's just a dramatically different situation right now, and so, and we've touched on this a lot. The Warriors had not been dealing with any kind of injury at the point in which they were 13-11. That's great. Warriors are 13-11. They got to be 13-11 off of being 3-7. And how do they move forward from there? It's great. They figured some things out, but then you start taking players away, and it becomes just a completely different scenario for the Warriors. So yeah, they were 21-5 last year, and then they won their next two. So they were 23-5 last year. 14 and they're 23-5 after 28. They're 14-14 this year. So a 9-game difference. And look, I don't think anybody expected this team to be 23-5 this year, but you'd feel a lot differently about this team if they were even 17-11 right now. But whether it was the early going and the road trip and the lack of defense and cohesiveness and all of that played a role in it, at the beginning, or guys coasting or whatever, they didn't make the most of being healthy and now you got to pay for that. So you didn't make the most of being healthy to where you're only 1 or 2 over. Now you're not healthy, which is going to make it harder to win games. And now you're going on the road, and you can't win on the road. 2-12, and the next 5 are on the road. So what are you going to be when you come back on Christmas? And then you go through that 8-game homestand. I mean, it adds up to things may have to ultimately get worse before they get better. And, that's a situation that might carry you damn near to the halfway mark of the season before you really start to make a push. Now, you're hoping if you're the Warriors at that point that things are still jumbled up as they are right now. And you just look around the league tonight, the Pelicans have won 7 in a row and are 18-8, and they're leading the Western Conference, and they're getting blown out in Salt Lake City right now. They're down 24 with 6 minutes to go in Salt Lake City. And the Jazz have been 3-7 in their last 10 and lost 2 in a row and are 15-14, and now the Jazz are running the Pelicans out of the building tonight in Salt Lake City. So they'll be 16-14. The Rockets ran the Suns out tonight. Suns have lost 4 in a row after they were the hottest team in the league and 16-7 and at the top of the Western Conference, and now they are 16-11 and a couple of games back and in the fold and struggling. Clippers are. It just kind of depends on who's playing for the Clippers on a night in, night out basis. They going to play? And when Paul George and Kawhi Leonard play together, they're pretty good. Beat the Celtics last night. But then there are games just out of nowhere where one of them ain't playing or neither one of them are playing, and other guys are taking nights off, and you just don't know exactly what you're going to get at that point in time. So it is a puzzle. I do think the Warriors are benefiting from the fact that it is so jumbled up, and I think the goal that it's probably too early for the Warriors to even acknowledge, but is realistically on the table for them is to be a top 4 seed. They're 2.5 games out of being a top 4 seed. So it's not time to panic by any stretch, but it just, you have to wonder if 13-11 and starting to come around was the best they could do before, 13-12 before they had injuries, and now they're going to deal with injuries that may mean they linger right around 500 or even slightly below here over the next few weeks. At what point is that hot streak going to come? And it never really came for the Warriors in the second half because guys kept getting injured. And that's the other part of this thing is all right, when are they getting everybody back? When are they getting everybody back? Well, they ended up not getting everybody back until the playoffs started. And once the playoffs started, they flipped the switch and look, that was a better team. The team Warriors had last year was better, deeper, more veterans, steadier. the pieces fit together better. I mean, that's why they had the 23-5 record. I mean, the Gary, Kit, Otto Porter, Gary Payton II. And again, those players have barely played or haven't played for their respective teams to this point this season. Can't complain about it, can't whine about it. It's not like Damian Lee and Juan Toscano Anderson are major difference makers, but they are quality depth in the back third of your roster that can really help you when you have everybody else relatively healthy, play at a much higher level than just 500 or slightly above. And unfortunately, the Warriors are still trying to deal with the ramifications of all of that, and of the fact that they've had to find themselves and overcome their inability to play at a high level or play consistently, in particular on the road on that trip where they couldn't beat Detroit or Charlotte or Orlando in consecutive games there that sent them to 0-5, and then they punted on the last one. But the beautiful thing about the NBA is there's another opportunity tomorrow, and the Warriors and Pacers are going to go at it, and both those teams are 14-14, and I think the Warriors have a little something coming for the Pacers, who beat them last week at Chase. No Andrew Wiggins, and I would imagine Steph Curry and Draymond Green do play in that one. I would think Klay Thompson probably doesn't play, second of the back-to-back, and the Warriors go chase that one hard before an off day and then a game in Philly before games at Toronto and New York and Brooklyn to close out the trip. So all not lost, and I don't even want to make it about good teams versus bad for the Warriors, but I am concerned about the long haul. That's probably my biggest takeaway tonight, and really off of the last week and the 3 out of the 4 in the loss column as they've been without Andrew Wiggins. It's just, what can this team do over, let's say, a 54-game stretch? What can this team do over, can they have that 15-5 stretch, that 20-8 stretch that helps propel them into that top half of the top 8 in the West? If they can do that, I think they've got action, but there are just so many things on a night-in, night-out basis over an NBA season that pop up here and there as far as injuries and everything else that I'm not saying they can't do it, but it is the biggest concern that I have. So we'll call it an evening on that note here on 95.7 The Game. So quick turnaround for the Warriors, quick turnaround for me. I'll be back with you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, as I've got Warriors Live for you. It's the Warriors and the Pacers. And then we'll be talking about that one tomorrow night as well with Warriors wrap-up after the game. So thanks to Sterling Bennett. Thanks to everybody in our San Francisco studios. Thanks to the callers. Thanks to the texters. I'm John Dickinson, back tomorrow as the Warriors will take on the Indiana Pacers. Again, that's an early one, 4 o'clock tip-off, 3 o'clock with Warriors Live here on 95.7 The Game. So that'll do it. Fox Sports Radio coming your way next. Keep it locked all day tomorrow right here on 95.7 The Game. Good night.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online